Hey everyone, this is section 3.5, graphing linear inequalities. I'm going to show you guys the first 4 examples of the worksheet, and then I'm going to allow you to work on your own for the remainder of it. The first thing I want to do is take some notes really quick, so if you can find any room on your paper, whether it's on the top, the side, the bottom, the back, just want you to jot these things down. Remember, we have our 4 inequality symbols: greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, and less than or equal to. Okay? If we think back a few chapters ago, we graphed linear equations, not inequalities, meaning they used an equal sign. Those equations had a very distinct format called slope-intercept form. Y equals mx plus b, where the m was our slope, which was the rise over the run, and the b was our y-intercept, where we cross over the y-axis. Now, if you look at the example of our linear inequality, it says y is greater than 1/5 x minus 2. Well, y is greater than 1/5 x minus 2. Now, if you notice, there's an m value with the x, and there's a b value back here. So they're written in the same format. This is still in slope-intercept form. So our slope is 1/5, and our y-intercept is -2. That's going to come in handy in a second. When we go back, like we stated, and I'm going to make these distinct, our y-intercept, or our b value, is -2. So on the y-axis, I need to find -2 and put a point right here. Now the slope, or the rise over the run, is 1/5. So what is that telling us to do? Go up 1 and to the right 5. So I'm going to follow that from our point at -2. Go up 1 and over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now when you can't go up and to the right anymore, we've had a lot of practice with this, we're going to go down and to the left. Down 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Now usually, if this was an equation, we would just check the dots, or connect the dots, and move on. But when we're graphing inequalities, it's a little different. So again, if you can find some space to put this on your worksheet or on a separate sheet of paper, if we use the greater than or the less than symbol, we are going to use and connect our points not with a solid line, but with a dashed line. Okay. If we have a greater than or equal to symbol, or a less than or equal to symbol, we are going to use a solid line. Okay, so if we look at example number 1, we have a greater than. So we're going to use a dashed line. Line style, dashed, and we're going to connect them. Don't forget to always put your arrows on the end. And now there's one more step that goes with this. Okay, with inequalities, we know if it says, for example, if it just says y is greater than 5, well, that can mean a lot of things, right? It could mean 6, 7, 8, 9, and so on. Same thing when we graph inequalities like this. It's not just the points that we plot on the paper, it could mean much more than that, or less than that. Our example says greater than. So what you need to do is you could show this one of 2 ways. The first way is to shade above the line. And to keep this neat, instead of coloring in the entire graph, right? What I'm going to do is simply just draw some lines. This entire section above my graph is our solution set. These are our solutions. Now, there's a second way that you can show this. Instead of drawing lines, which I think might be the neatest way to do it, the way that I like to show it on my smartboard and in these notes is by highlighting. So since this is greater than, I'm going to highlight above. Okay, so which symbol means which way? Go back to our notes very quickly. If we have greater than or equal to, we shade above. Oops. If we have less than or equal to, we shade below. Okay, and what that means, just give you a little example here. You don't have to jot this down. If I have a line, or two separate lines, right? Shading above for these examples would be up here. Whereas shading below, depending on whether the line is positive or negative, would be this way. Okay, so we're going to keep this in mind and kind of use this chart to finish the last four examples. So that's number one. Number two says y is greater than negative x plus 3. Well, again, we're going to try and find that y-intercept where we're going to cross the y-axis, and it is at plus 3, positive 3. So put a nice point right at positive 3. As far as slope goes, well, I just see a negative x here. But really, we all know that there's a negative 1 in there. So our slope, or our m value, is negative 1 over 1. And what does that mean? That means down 1, right 1. So from our point at 3, we're going to go down 1, right 1. And follow that pattern all the way through the graph. And when we can't go down and to the right, we go up and left. Now our symbol is greater than. If we go back to the chart, greater than means a dashed line, and we're going to shade above. So I'm going to give this a dashed line. Put our arrows on the end. And greater than, again, means to shade above. So put your pen on one of the points and go up. And that's how you know what section you need to shade in. Okay. Again, remember, if you don't have a highlighter, you can just simply draw lines like this. Very neat. Our next example, number 3, says y is less than or equal to negative 5x minus 3. Well, again, we go to find that y-intercept, which is negative 3. So I'm going to put a point at negative 3 on the y-axis. Your slope, though, or your m value, is negative 5. But we like slope as a fraction, so I'm going to put it negative 5 over 1. Which means down 5 and to the right 1. But if I start at my negative 3, if I go down 5, I'm off the page. So instead of going down and to the right, we need to go up 5 and to the left 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, left 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, off the page. So we only have 2 points. Now our inequality symbol is less than or equal to. If I go back to my chart, less than or equal to is right here. That means a solid line, and it also means to shade below. So we'll go back to our example. We are going to use a solid line to connect our points. And shading below. Now shading below could be tricky. Put your pen on the point and go directly down. This is the side of the line we must shade. My final example before I let you guys work is y is greater than or equal to negative 4x plus 4. Our y-intercept is at positive 4. So let's put a point right at positive 4 on the y-axis. Our slope is negative 4, but again, just like the last question, we like to have our slope as a fraction, so negative 4 over 1, which means down 4 and to the right 1. So from our first point, let's go down 4 to the right 1. Down 4 to the right 1. And our symbol is greater than or equal to. Greater than or equal to is a solid line. And greater than means shade above. So first we'll connect with a solid line. It's a little off-centered there. Let me fix that. There we go. Okay. Put our arrows on the end. And we need to shade above. Okay. All right, give the remainder of this worksheet a shot. If you need help, you can always reach out via email or the Google